So as you can see, this is my sales team's calendar and we're fully booked up at all times. So in this video, what I'm going to be doing is breaking down my exact appointment booking system and the philosophy behind it. And if you don't know me, my name is Joe. I work with 50 other agencies at this current moment. So I know a thing or two about appointment booking. I've been doing this for about 2 years in the agency space. But I'm going to start with the fundamentals here. If you don't know this one key concept, hey, look, you might as well just never book appointments in your life, because this is the one that's actually going to book a lot of appointments and make you a lot of money. And the first lesson is starting with absolute brute force and then leveraging it with labor. What the hell does that mean? If you haven't made 100 YouTube videos, how do you know what makes a YouTube video good? If you haven't made 100 cold calls to local businesses before, how do you actually know what makes a good cold call? Okay, this is the basics out of everything in appointment booking. Optimization of appointment booking comes after you learn the basics of how to do it in the first place. If you do 100 cold calls right now and you listen back to them, it's going to be really difficult as a beginner to go, hey, look, I screwed up here. Okay. And that's why people get mentors. And that's why people pay coaches in the agency space, right? This is exactly what they do. They've been through this process. So they immediately go, hey, look, this thing is wrong. And the truth is, in the beginning, you don't know what is good or bad. Okay, so as an example, if you do 500 cold calls and you get, let's say, a 2% ABR with it, right? You may think that's good when your competitors are getting 5% and you don't even know what things are an objection or not. Okay, so there's a saying by Hermosi that says volume negates luck. So what you really want to do in the beginning is do as much damn volume as you possibly can. And I made a big mistake at this in the beginning, where I'm like, let's just aim for perfection, right? So the one thing I want you to avoid is perfection in this thing. What a lot of people are going to do, they'll just wait around and say, let's build the perfect cold call script and let's make it once and we'll never change it because we're going to get it right. I'm going to spend a week doing this cold call script. I'm going to set up the CRM in a certain way. And they aim for this perfection thing. And what happens is they just absolutely stall, right? So this is you, this person up here, who just does 100 cold calls the first day, let's say, is going to move 5 times as fast as you, just literally being in the same spot this whole time. And you're still like in the same spot. Like you haven't done anything. You haven't learned anything by just sitting there and making a cold call script because you don't even know what is good or bad. Okay. So the first lesson is just do as much volume as you can until you notice what is booking appointments and what is not booking appointments. And then from that, you can start to notice, hey, look, are these people just saying no to me because they're throwing me a smokescreen objection that really, I don't know that it's a smokescreen yet. Like I want to think about it, like send me an email, whatever it is. These are just smokescreens. And as a beginner, you might just be thinking these are actual perfect responses to your thing. This person needs me to send me an email to look over the information. You might think that's perfect, but in reality, it really isn't. I need to learn these objections. Let's talk about one more thing with volume. This is you right here. This is the advanced agency owner. This person is probably booking 5% of the cold calls. Let's use cold call as an example. You're booking 2%. So this person is booking nearly double the appointments as you with the same amount of calls. And this could be applied to cold email. This could be applied to cold DMs, whatever it is. So as a beginner right here, how do you beat this advanced agency owner who's killing it and getting 5%? Okay. Your only advantage is volume. So basically anything you do in the agency space can be solved with just doing more. Okay. So whenever you're in doubt, it's like, I'm not booking enough appointments. Okay. You're probably doing 100 cold calls a day. And you're complaining why you're not booking appointments while this person is booking 10 sales calls a day by doing 300. Okay, so all you need to do is just do 400 as an example. You have to do more than the person above you, and that's the only way you win. They will have better metrics than you. They will be doing better than you, but your advantage is just spending more time on the damn business to overpower them with volume. The next thing here is with appointments, you're either paying with money or you're paying with time. These are the only 2 things you're actually using as a currency, you can call it, to book appointments. You can spend $20 on ads and you can get 5 appointments as an example. That's a really good cost per lead, but you get what I mean. Or you can spend 10 hours cold calling and booking appointments. These are the only 2 ways that you can possibly get appointments. Okay, with this being said, you need to know exactly how long it takes you to get a client. And we're going to get in the end of this video here how to actually mathematically calculate this. But in the meantime, these are the only two things. So basically what you do is go, am I limited on money? Or am I limited on time? And what this allows you to do, as an example, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, but you only have 4 hours at the end of the day to book sales calls, whatever it is, you're going to be leaning towards paying for softwares. Okay. You're going to be leaning towards, if you're good at the skill, hiring an appointment setter, whatever it is, you're going to be leaning that direction. If you have no money at all, and this was me in the beginning, this is probably a lot of you, just because you're probably like me, you're going to be doing time-intensive activities. This is going to be, again, cold calling. This is going to be, let's say, cold DMing. And these things are manual work. These are like personalized video messages to prospects. This is like personalized calls to businesses that you're doing 200 a day. So what you need to do is figure out, are you limited on money or are you limited on time? And you're basically going to go with the one that you're not limited on, and that will be the way you reach out to prospects. Because if you are not limited in money and you can reinvest in money, just you hire someone, you can pay a software, you can get a really good software, you can get an agency to do it for you, you can hire 2 cold callers, whatever it is. If you're limited on that, you're going to lean towards more time. Your 3-step plan, this is my next point. There's usually 3 steps to booking appointments, just fundamentally in an agency. One is strategize, one is tracking, one is action. Strategy. How do we define strategy? It's prioritization. That's what it is. So it's using one outreach method over the other. Okay? It's using this to scrape leads instead of this. That's what it is. So we're building a plan. Okay? And the plan needs to be niche research. It needs to be researching the prospect. It needs to be knowing where the people are hanging out. It needs to be knowing where to contact them at. And this is where you're researching and going, okay, what's my best plan of attack to book appointments in this scenario? Because there's not one size fits all strategy for every single agency, for every single niche. Okay. Appointment booking rates are going to be higher in one niche than another. You need to pick one niche and then research the heck out of it and find where these people are hanging out. That's strategy. You need to work that out. That should take maybe a few days of your time. A lot of people are going to be in that analysis paralysis stage, as I mentioned earlier, and they really will not do anything at all about it, and they'll sit back for 2 weeks before they start taking action. That's what you really shouldn't do. Research the hell out of it for 3 hours a day for 3 days, and then just take action as fast as you can. Next one is going to be tracking. So you need to find a way to track how you're doing with the action. That's the next step. So you need to track the amount of calls you do. You need to track the metrics from the calls you do. Everything. Because with tracking, if you try to change anything, you won't know what actually made your appointment rate go up. You won't know if your tonality saying it this way or another way actually made it better or not. You have no idea how to judge what is doing good and what is doing bad. Okay, so you basically track your progress when you're taking action. And now you know the feedback loop, and then you can adjust your strategy off taking action. This is basically the 3-step process. And this is really all it comes down to. It comes down to building a plan, executing on that plan. With the numbers and the metrics you get back from that plan, you adjust the strategy and go harder and harder and harder towards what's working. And that's how you get up to like 10 appointments a day up here. In the beginning, this is what I did over and over and over and over, adjusting everything I can in order to make this happen. And really what it takes is just endless action, endless feedback, and endless adjusting. That's really what it is. The Pareto principle. And you might think, this is off topic, Joe, what the heck is this? But it's very important in business to understand the Pareto principle because it's fundamentally in every single market on earth. Okay? After taking so much action in a business, you realize that there's only a few actions that are resulting in most of the progress. Okay. And this is known as the Pareto principle, where 80% of all these outcomes are derived from 20% of causes, which is a crazy statistic, by the way, but it's super true. Look at all the book sales. There's 20% of the authors that are accounting for 80% of the books sold. This could be in economics, where the top companies, the S&P 500, this could be Nvidia, whatever you're looking at, is 20%, 80%. Okay, so this is super true. If you look at any realm, you realize that it directly applies to everything we're doing in a business. So you realize continually editing your landing page in your business to be perfect won't nearly have the results that simply calling businesses will. Just reaching out to businesses. You realize that the landing page is nearly irrelevant and it should just be a page that shows what you offer and a video of you, and that's it. Because all you need to do is book appointments on a damn calendar, okay? So you realize that making content taking up 20% of your time will eventually become 80% of the client acquisition system. Look at my videos. These are very important videos, and it's usually 20% resulting in 80% of the progress in my business is from these videos, okay? So what you need to do is you have all of these things that you're doing in your business, right? So you have this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing. Then after a while, after let's say 6 months, or ideally faster, you took so much action that you have all of these things that you did, you realize that, guess what? Only this section, these 3 things that I'm doing actually matter in my business. And everything else here is just a complete waste of my time, and it really made no progress for me, okay? I'm just gonna give you a tip. Usually, if you're doing something that doesn't affect acquisition, so signing more clients, improving your sales ability, or improving your product, they're irrelevant, okay? If it does not come down to these 3 things in your business, it is irrelevant. So ask yourself, am I like reading books on like psychological techniques to manipulate people on sales calls when I can just read from a script, or I can get a sales mentor, or I can watch some YouTube videos from actual salespeople? Like, am I just wasting 2 hours a day just reading books when I should just be recording more videos, doing more sales calls, taking more action? You can ask yourself that. Then you go, okay, this YouTube video that I made 6 months ago just resulted in 80% of my sales. Then you realize that all the other stuff that you did is wrong. And I'll stop yapping here. But really, you have to realize that this is always something you're in. And you have to continually notice what is driving all the results in your business, because usually it's just like 20% driving most of the sales in your business, which is a crazy stat, if I'm going to be honest. Next one. This is probably the most important part of the video here. And I saved it for the end because YouTube retention, fun stuff. So a lot of people set output goals, okay? And this is kind of repeated in the market, but it's good to be reminded about it. They set output goals. What are output goals? So it's signing clients, it's getting the money from the client, it's you want to make 10K a month, it's, hey, look, I want to travel. These are all output goals that are coming from something, okay? So like, what is driving this? Okay, then you realize it's cold calls, it's improving your sales script, you realize it's improving your service, all these things. Okay, then you take a step back. Okay, so what's driving my cold calls then? Okay, so what's driving my sales? Okay, what's driving my service? Okay, so then it's my script of my cold calling. Okay, it's my tonality of my cold calling. So basically, you have to ask yourself, what's driving my goal? And you take a step back until you get to, at first, principles. What do I actually have to do on a day-to-day basis to drive what I want? Because if you just focus on this stuff and go, hey, look, I'm going to go one step back, you won't recognize all of these things back here that are still driving this thing. Then you're missing out on all of the improvement because you need to take another step back and go, what am I doing on a day-to-day basis? Am I installing a software? Am I clicking buttons on the screen? Am I saying something in a different tonality on a cold call, which is getting me a higher conversion rate? Because that higher conversion rate is going to get people on sales calls more often, which means if I get people on sales calls more often, I sign that client more often. Okay, you recognize what I'm saying. So a lot of people are stuck in this output goal thing when they really should just be going 10 steps back into the day-to-day. You need to set input goals correlating with the output goals. It's not like you shouldn't have output goals. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you should set the output goal. It's great to have that North Star goal you're aiming at. But at the same time, you need to have input goals that are driving that output. Okay, this is the most important part. It is definitely more important for the input goals than the output goals. So I'm going to give you an example of how you can actually reverse engineer your metrics and your numbers in your business. And again, metrics, number, not sexy. It's the only thing that matters, because this is going to be driving all of your revenue. This is going to be driving all of your sales, and you don't even know about it. Numbers is what's driving everything. You need to track everything. This is coming back to what I said earlier about the tracking in the 3-step plan. This is all from tracking. You need to track more. If you're a beginner and you're not tracking anything, please log the amount of cold calls you do, log the amount of bookings you have. And if you're doing it, fantastic. But if you're not, please do it. So let's give an example of a goal. Okay. So you want to make $240,000 yearly, annually. What does that come down to? Okay, that is 20 grand a month with your business. So we have an output. We have like a final output right now, which is like the North Star goal with our business. Okay. And we have a client worth 6 grand. So now we have that number, which is another step back, by the way. Notice how we're taking steps back to the day-to-day to reach that. So we have 6 grand client. So when we have a sales call, and we have a prospect on a sales call, 20% of the time they're going to convert. And next is a good fit rate, which means 80% of the prospects we book are good fit. So we can actually pitch these people. Then we have a show-up rate, okay? And then we go back to the metrics here. And now we can actually reverse engineer everything. Okay, so our goal yearly is $240,000, and we need $6,000 clients, which means we have 40 clients that we need in a year to make this happen. Notice how 40 clients in a year is more manageable than like something like 40 clients in a month. Like when you put it in the year perspective, it makes total sense. Next, you divide that by 20, because 20% is our sales conversion rate. Now you get 200 calls that you need, okay, in the year. Like that's not even bad. You realize that's not bad at all. Then you go, 80% of them are a good fit. Okay, so now you need 250 people on calls with you in the year. Our show rates now comes to 300 calls. We need bookings at 303. Now let's say you're doing cold emails, okay, and you have a 2.5% booking rate on cold emails. Okay, so now you do 303 divided by the cold email booking rate. You need 12,120 emails sent in a year for 365 days. Okay. Then you can subtract weekend days and you can subtract holiday days, equals 247 work days. So these are the days in the year that we're going to send emails to people in general. We can eliminate the holidays. We can eliminate the weekends because we don't want to be reaching out to those people at those times. All right. So now we have this 12,000 number, divided by the work days, and now we have the amount of emails a day to send. And that was a lot of math. That's completely understandable. If you don't understand, that's fine. Just understand what you need to do day by day to make that output happen. Okay? And notice how many levels we need to go down to reach the day-to-day. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 levels of analysis down in order to the day-to-day to make this happen. And this is what a lot of people don't do. And this is why a lot of people fail in business, because they have this output goal, they have this input goal, and they just look at this output and they go like 1 level of analysis down, and all this other stuff that needs to go down, just doesn't get known. They have no idea about it. Okay. So what you can do right here is screenshot this, anything you need, take this, and you can paste it in Google Doc, and you can calculate what you need to do day by day to book those appointments and sign those clients that you need as an input goal to get the clients you need, which is an output goal, right? The day-to-day, 300 cold calls, 200 DMs, 150 emails to get all those clients you need in the year or in the month, whatever you'd like to calculate here. Do that. Now you have day by day schedule for yourself. That's like, I need to do this, and then my business is fine. That's like an 80-20 rule, right? This is like the 20% driving 80% of the outputs, right? This is completely corollary with the Pareto principle. So I'm happy that I learned this when I started my agency, because this is what I did repeatedly. And again, like you're going to adjust this, right? You're going to take action, then you get feedback on that action. And this is like the iteration loop. It's the feedback loop, okay? And I think I did this personally, like I can't even say like 10 times, right? Things are going to change in your business. The pricing structure is going to change. The conversion rate's going to get better. The appointment rate is going to get better. Whatever it is, it's going to always change. So you're going to be adjusting this. But at the same time, it's fantastic to have a day-to-day goal that you set out to achieve and continually iterate it. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. A lot of math and it wasn't as sexy as usual, but at least you actually know what it takes to book these appointments. If you want a free school community where I talk to you about researching your niche and exact questions to ask, and then as well creating a no-brainer offer with example offers right here, and also how to do outreach and what outreach channel you should pick, join that group. It is free in the description. You can get in right now after watching this video, and I'll see you guys later.